on attaining which a person becomes perfect, immortal, and satisfied. So Naradji first defined what bhakti is, and now he's explaining the consequences of bhakti. Being an acharya, he is a teacher of the supreme science of devotion. And he knows that in order to teach, he needs receptive students. Receptivity requires the students to know what the benefits of this bhakti will be. That is why he is marketing it, or he is capturing the interest of the people. Look, if you get this bhakti, then listen what all will happen. So he says, Yal labdhva puman, that human being who attains bhakti will become siddh, amrit, and tript. 3 words. Siddh, mystic powers are sometimes called siddhis. Anima mahima murter laghima praptirindriyai prakamyam shrutadrishteshu shakti preranamishita. There are mystic abilities. They are wrongly understood as spiritual powers. So as a result of yogic sadhana, yogis achieve these siddhis. However, in the spiritual path, they are not considered valuable. That is why there is the story that Swami Vivekananda was going with the yogi discussing spiritual topics when a stream came in front. The yogi had the ability for levitation. He walked across the stream and looked back. You have not learned this siddhi, you also walk. Swami Vivekananda said, I have got my way of doing it. He walked downstream and found a boat. He paid the boatman 2 paise and crossed over. So when they reunited, the yogi said, what spiritual sadhana have you done when you can't even walk on the water? Swami Vivekananda said, my spiritual sadhana is not for walking on water, but for purifying the mind. Your spiritual sadhana which you have done is worth 2 paise. Because I was able to cross the stream in 2 paise. And these mystic abilities are such that as you use them, they keep decreasing. They are achieved through austerity and they keep on decreasing. Hence, somebody with an illumined intellect, by Guru's grace, somebody who has received divine knowledge and has established the proper value system inside, does not accord any value, any importance to these siddhis. Even if God tries to tempt such a person, they are not tempted. Like Kag Bhushundi was not. Lord Ram asked Kag Bhushundi, Kag Bhushundi manguvar ati prasanna mohi jana animadik siddhi apar nidhi moksha sakal sukha khan. Kag Bhushundi, ask for a boon. I am ati prasann, extremely pleased with you. God is pleased. I will give you what you want. Here, the whole table. You want siddhi, riddhi, or moksha? Do you want mystic abilities? Do you want material opulences? Or do you want liberation? Very cunningly, Ram did not name bhakti Bhakti. And he named other such allurements. But Kagbhushundi was the true disciple of a true guru. And that is why he said, Maharaj, what are you giving me? Am I the only person you wish to make a buddhu today? You're making a fool of me? But Kagbhushundi, I am offering you such wonderful things. Riddhi, Siddhi, Moksha. Maharaj, I want none of these. Give it to your more intelligent children. As far as I am concerned, Aviral Bhakti Vishuddha Tava Shruti Purana Jehi Gava Jehi Khojat Yogish Muni Prabhu Prasad Ko Pava. Give me that Para Bhakti, Nirbhara Bhakti, Gunatit Bhakti, Nishkam Bhakti, Vishuddha Bhakti, Aviral Bhakti, which big yogis and munis are searching for. And one out of many gets, by your grace, Maharaj, I want that bhakti. So Kagbhushundi is rejecting Siddhi for bhakti. And Naradji says, when you get bhakti, you will become Siddh. What kind of contradiction? Naradji means something else from Siddh. Siddh also means perfect. किसी चीज को सिद्ध कर दो. Make something siddh means perfect it. Like what is the perfection of rice? When you cook it and it becomes soft and edible, then you say, wo chawal siddh ho gaya. The Mahatmas, if you ever stay with the Mahatmas and you tell them, khana khao, chi, gandi baat. Prasad pao, not khana khao. So similarly, they say to cook, they say siddh kar do. Once, 34 years ago, we did a trek to Yamunotri. At that time, there were no roads. So it was a 7-hour walk to go and you had to come back the same day. We were a group of 35 people going around. So we went. It was like that donkey path, up, down like this. Finally, when we reached Yamunotri, where the river Yamuna begins, there's a hot spring there, the Surya Kund. So it's extremely hot. Then it falls in the next place, little less hot. Then it falls a little less place. Because Yamuna is the daughter of Surya. And that is why her birthplace has this spring. Then we discovered this cave up there. So we all walked up. The cave was connected to the spring. The moment we entered the cave, there were 3 Mahatmas there. Come. I said, my God, such hospitality. You must be really hungry. So the Mahatma who was the guru, he told his disciples, make the rice siddh for them. So the disciple, he took the rice in a cloth and put it in the spring water. And he cooked it and got it for us. It was like sheer nectar because after 7 hours up and down the hill, anything would have tasted nectar. And the rice cooked there in the stream. So 3 of us had gone up and we received this royal treatment. So we went and spread the word and 7 more went. And we went and spread the word and all of them went. And they were feeding 20, 30 people. Where do you get all this in your cave? They said, people come and give it. Then we came to know that in the winter, there's 30 foot of snow there. So the government instruction in those used to be, nobody will stay there. But their guru, that Mahatma, he had the government permission to stay there in the winters. So the language they use is, chawal siddh kar do. Make the rice siddh, which means perfect it by cooking. So Naradji says, yal labdhva puman siddho bhavati. If you get bhakti, you will become siddh. In other words, you will become a perfected person. Kripaluji Maharaj explains further. What is this perfection? Your heart will become soft. In love for God, all the kachara, the hardness, the ugliness will disappear. And in love for God, when your heart melts, that is the siddhi. So bhakti will lead you to the perfection. The Bible says, be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. God wants you to be perfect, mam ekam sharanam vraja, and that perfection will be reached through bhakti. So Narad ji says the first incentive, he is giving you the first incentive, that through bhakti you will become siddh. And the second one, he says, you will become a mrit. Mrit means dead. Amrit means beyond death, immortal. So right now we are in Mrityu Lok, this plane of existence where there's repeated death, birth, disease, old age and death. That's why Shankaracharya says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha sansare khaludustare kripaya pare pahi murare. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Mudamate. Shankaracharya is saying, oh foolish soul, you are repeatedly born, you repeatedly die, and repeatedly hang upside down in a mother's womb. Then again you are born, then again you die, then again you hang upside down in a mother's womb. This has been going on and on and on. Like there was a person in the jail, his term got over. So the rules of the jail were, when the prisoner was discharged, he used to be given his mattress on which he used to sleep and his cup and plate. This prisoner, on completion of his term, was being released. So these items were given to him. He said, there is no need, keep them here, I'm going to come back very soon. He knows he's going to come back. So this is also the jail house of God. And we are all eager to come back here again and again. But then we realize, my God, this is a place of misery and suffering. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. There is danger, misery, suffering at every step. But that leads to the desire for liberation. That is mukti. So the jnani's goal in life is mukti. How do I get liberated and never be born again? That is what the jnani considers the highest goal. But the bhakt says, no, 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 I don't want even mukti, because that is also selfishness. The self-seeking tendency has gone there. Now I want my liberation. He says, no, I only want your selfless devotion birth after birth. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishvare, bhavatad bhaktirahaitu ki tvai. He says, I don't want the opulences of the world. I don't want high status and position. I don't want wealth. Then what do you want? Every lifetime I should get your devotion. So the devotee doesn't even want liberation. That is why Bharat Maharaj, when he was going to meet Ram in the forest with the residents of Ayodhya, they reached Prayag. And when Bharat saw, you see, they were going from the Ganga, now they see the Yamuna. So the Ganga is whitish colored and the Yamuna is bluish. So he saw the bluish color of the Yamuna, it reminded him of Ram. Raghuvara vara navilo kivara vari sameta samaj hot magana varidhi virah chadhe vivek jahas. Ram, Ram, Ram. Now he was going to go into divine samadhi. Then he said, what will people say? He controlled himself. So, that Bharat, now where the Ganga and Yamuna meet is the Prayag, Tirthraj Prayag. So he reached Prayag and he prays to Tirthraj. Dharamana arathana kamaruchi gatina chahu nirvana. He's saying, oh King of all holy places. Prayag is called Tirthraj, King of all holy places. Oh Tirthraj, I don't want dharma, arth, kam, moksha. I don't want this. The Tirthraj Prayag says, everybody comes here begging for things. Give me this, give me this, give me this. And he's come with the reverse list. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. So what do you want? So he says, Janam Janam Rati Ram Pad Yah Vardhanan An. Every birth may my mind remain attached to the lotus feet of my Ram. I want nothing else. So the devotee is nishkam, without desires. Still, God says, you have got bhakti. Now mukti will be automatic. You did not ask for mukti, but it was buy one and get one free. Once you have got bhakti, then you don't need to remain in this jailhouse. The jailhouse was until you reach that siddhi. Once you have reached there, the jail has no purpose. You pass school, you go into college now. Similarly, as long as we were bereft of God consciousness, we were in the material jail. And now that we have become Siddh, this jail becomes the improper place for us. So mukti is a natural consequence of bhakti. That is why one devotee says, Gopala iti shrutva tam prachur kshira vanchaya shrito matustanang shira mapi labdhum na shaknuyam. He says, O Shri Krishna, I heard your name is Gopal, one who loves the cows. I was very fond of milk. So that is why I started devoting myself to you, that through your bhakti, I will go to your divine abode and there will be lots of cows. But what was the consequence of your bhakti? The consequence was, in every lifetime I used to drink my mother's milk. Now that got stolen because I got liberated from the cycle of life and death. So Naradji says, Amrit, you will become immortal. And Tript, you will become satiated. This Tripti is a very tricky term. It can be your best friend and worst enemy. In the world, if you are not satisfied, you will keep chasing an illusion or a delusion. So in the world, Tripti is very important. And in the spiritual realm, if you become tript, Sab theek hai, oh, I am absolutely all right, I am a surrendered soul, then you will not try to progress. So in the spiritual side, it's important to feel atript. I have not surrendered at all as yet. I need to do it. That is why you need to keep contradictory principles in the material and spiritual realms. Santoshastrishu kartavyah swadhare bhojane dhane trishu naivacha kartavyah swadhyaye japadanayo. Says, be content in your spouse. जैसा भी गोबर गणेश मिला ठीक काम चलाओ. Be content in your spouse. Be content in your food. Be content in your wealth. Whatever God has given, I have 2 rotis to eat, good enough. So, santoshas trishu kartavya. In this material realm, be content. Contentment is a wealth, because contentment will bring you peace. And in the spiritual field, don't be contented. Trishu naivacha kartavyah swadhyaye japadanayo. In your accumulation of spiritual knowledge, swadhyaya. In your chanting of the names of God. In your giving in charity and serving. Always think, I have so much more to do. So, you should not be contented. But Naradji is saying that you become contented, tript. In the spiritual side, you become tript. Actually, this spiritual tripti or contentment is a dynamic state. In other words, you will become tript, then again pyasa. You will become satisfied, then again thirsty. Then again satisfied, then again thirsty. Because when you receive bhakti, you will get the bliss of God. Maja aa gaya. Just like someday if you sit and do your kirtan very well with Roop Dhyan, a few tears flow, then your heart feels contented. Today was so satisfying. But then the contentment says, okay, again the thirst arises. Now a little more, then a little more. So the spiritual contentment is such that bhara hi nirantar ho hi na pure. Valmiki had told Ram. Ram asked that where should I stay in the forest? I have got 14 years to spend. So Valmiki responded, Jinke Shravana Samudra Samana Katha Tumhari Subhaga Sarinana. Maharaj, you stay in the hearts of those devotees of yours whose ears are like the ocean in hearing your glories. The ocean receives the stream and still doesn't get satiated. So, bharahi nirantara hohi na pure tinke hiya tum kahu griharure. Those devotees of yours who have such a thirst to hear your glories that they keep on hearing. They are satiated and yet thirsty. You stay in the hearts of those devotees, O Ram. So that kind of tripti is the state that bhakti brings you to. So Naradji gets full marks for being a good marketing agent of God and bhakti.